And I'd like to hear from you, Vrindarani Mataji. What exactly do you see on the screen?
I'm able to see your PowerPoint, Prabhu, and all the slides in the site. If you actually go to your screen mode, I think it'll expand to the full screen.
Yeah, it is to the full screen. So I'm using an external monitor, and that's where it's expanding. So maybe that's why you're not able to see all this.
Well, I'm able to see your slides, but also, in the side it gives
in the side you can see that. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get rid of.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, you're in slideshow mode now.
It just got, you were, and now it turned off.
Okay. All right, let's do this again. Okay, now I should see the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
And
not yet, not the slide.
Now.
Yeah.
No. Yes, now, yes.
Now, yes. Okay. It's 10:06. Shall we just go ahead and get started?
Sure, Prabhu. There is one, we have Hari Venu Prabhu, so yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started.
Vidityanarayan Prabhu just joined as well.
I don't see.
FYI, we are recording this session too, so we can post it in the group too, Prabhu. So please, all of you, go ahead, start when you would like to. Yeah.
Live on YouTube. Yeah, I was actually about to ask if we're going to record this session, but Mataji, have you already started the recording?
Yes, Prabhu, it's already started. It's already live on YouTube.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and get started. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Charu Swami Iti Namine Snivijeta Supraneta Vagbinam Sarasabdam Prabhupada Gapranam Yoti Charvudam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini. Oh my dear Lord, Sri Radha Golokananda, if you so desire, please empower the finance committee team so that we can share some knowledge and the information that we have with the devotees so that we may all be able to serve you and all the devotees in Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So, good morning, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We're going to talk about some information that we would like to share with you regarding the finance care. The finance committee. It's under the devotee care program. So just so that you can understand, we have devotee care program that's going on in the community, and the devotee care program has a number of different sub cares, so to speak, subcommittees, so to speak. And you might remember there was a pyramid that was shared, which talked about physical care, medical care, emotional care, dental care, all kinds of care. And one of them is finance. So we have here the finance committee. We're going to talk about some information that we would like to share with you. And, before we get started, I wanted to go ahead and acknowledge all the team members and to introduce them. They have been very instrumental in compiling all the information together. And so I'd like to have Gopal Prabhu, if you'd like to just say Hare Krishna. I don't know how you're feeling right now.
I'm all right. I'm a little under the weather. I'm struggling with some respiratory issues due to mold, but they're clearing.
Okay.
So I'm all right. Okay. And hello all, Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming. I guess Balaram, Hari Prabhu, and Jagadish Prabhu weren't able to join us today.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think the active members that we've had in this team are Gopal Prabhu, yourself. We have Vrindarani Mataji and Pranav Prabhu. I think these have been active members. Balaram and Jagadish Prabhu had expressed an interest, so we kind of left them there. So they may be more, like a passive team members just on the receiving end, which is fine. We acknowledge and honor anybody who's interested. Vrindarani Mataji, would you like to just quickly introduce yourself?
Hi, Krishna devotees. My name is Vrindarani Dasi, and I'm happy to have an opportunity to serve. It's easy. This is something I do for my bread and butter, and if I can somehow use this to serve the devotees and the community in some way with the resources I have, I'll be very, very pleased, and it'll be my greatest honor. Thank you for allowing me, and I'm really happy to be a part of this team. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Pranav Prabhu, are you on call? Let me see. There's Praveen Prabhu, not Pranav Prabhu.
I don't see Pranav Prabhu on the list.
Okay. All right. And then finally, I'll just introduce myself. My name is Vikasananda Krishnadas, and I am, basically, my background is that in IT and a little bit of my own finance that I have picked up over the course of the years. And I've been very honored to be working and serving along Gopal Prabhu, Vrindarani Mataji, Pranav Prabhu, and all together. And I'm basically just helping facilitate move things. So the purpose of this finance committee is, we have some personal finance resources that we would like to share with you that you can get some insight on. And also, if you need some assistance, if you'd like to have some kind of help from a finance perspective, we'd be happy to provide that to you. Now, keep in mind, while we may be able to, provide you some assistance here and there, some maybe like Vrindarani Mataji may give you more of an assistance based on our background. We would be able to also point you to the right resources so that those will be available to you and you'll be able to avail of those help. Our mission statement is to provide personal finance care and advice for the well-being of the devotee. This is a key thing. Devotees' well-being is affected by a number of things, and finance happens to be one of them. So we want to make sure that devotees are well educated and well practiced in the finance care. Our vision statement is to be the leading source of personal finance advice and resources for the devotees. And so as and when we go along and we see any resources that we find will be helpful, we will update this library of resources that will be available to you. At this point, let me just take a moment and talk about when we say personal finance, what exactly do we mean? Now, there are a number of areas in personal finance that are covered under this personal finance umbrella. Give me a second. Let me get this window out of here. Okay. Yeah, better. So we talk about a number of areas under personal finance. And as I'm talking through this, Vrindarani Mataji, Gopal Prabhu, feel free to chime in and provide additional data points for the benefit of the devotees. But you'll notice under this that when we talk about personal finance, it's not just talking about what the day-to-day financial needs are, which is how much income am I getting and how much expenses am I getting, how many credit cards I have, how many loans do I have to pay off, and so on. Those are more of the day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month kind of things that we have to do. But we also have to look at how do we plan for our financial future. And I think it's better if we have an idea of our current as well as our future, so that we can better position our longer-term financial prospects, and then we can position for things like future long-term investments, and long-term future goals. On the screen, you'll notice that there's different things like home and mortgage, home and mortgage for those who are, for example, first-time home buyers, or those who are looking to refinance. Those are the kind of services that we can help you with. There are credit cards, different kinds of credit cards. So sometimes, we have devotees who have come from other countries, or those who are students, and they may have a difficulty getting a credit card. So, we can provide you some advice on that. Also, if those who are looking to cut down their credit card debt, perhaps, we can talk to you about how we can do that, point you to some resources who may be able to do it. Insurance is a key need in this country, whether it's medical insurance, health insurance, car insurance, etc. And Vrindarani Mataji, is very well equipped with the knowledge and the skills, and she can help you. When we talk about investments, we're talking about long-term investments, short-term investments. You need to have a goal of what kind of investments we're talking about, and so accordingly, we can provide you with assistance. Estate planning. Some devotees actually do have certain inherited estates, and they need to know, like, what do we do with it. There's also risk management. Taxes is another area. Taxes can get complicated, and so we have some advice, some support that can be provided. Retirement is a long-term investment. It's a long-term goal, and so for those devotees who are right now in the accumulation phase, we can talk about what might make best sense for your scenario. And for those who are already now after the accumulation, those who are in the retirement stage, that is when you are in the actual withdrawing stage. how best to work it out. And then we talk about budgeting, whether it is budgeting either short term on a week-to-week basis or a month-to-month basis, or it is budgeting on an annual basis. Social security is an interesting area. Social security is where you'll notice for those who have jobs and regular income on a monthly basis or a bi-weekly basis, there is a line that gets deducted for social security. That's basically an amount that goes in, and then based on the benefits and the amount that you're paying, they're saying that at the point of your retirement, whether it is early retirement or at full retirement age or at late retirement stage, maximum benefits, you'll be able to get different amounts. And that's also from Social Security. And there are other benefits such as disabilities and things like that that will be provided. And then we have loans and debt. And, there are, again, different kind of loans. There's, car loans or a personal loan and things like that. And when you happen to find yourself in debt, how do we manage through that? So overall, all of these is basically what we talk about as wealth management. If you have, certain kind of wealth that you may have inherited or acquired somehow, how do you basically manage that? How do you put that to best use? So those are all the areas. Again, by no means is comprehensive, but this is to basically say that these are all the areas that we can consider in providing you with some service when it comes to personal finance. The other thing that in terms of we should look at is financial wellness. And for us, when we talk about financial wellness, we're talking about, two things: security and freedom of choice. And, it's not just in the present, but also in the future. And when we do this, when we talk about, let's say, if you look at this present security, we need to have control over our month-to-month finances. For the future, we need to have some kind of a capacity to be absorbed some kind of a financial shock. Markets, and economies go through ups and downs. And so we need to be able to plan for any kind of unexpected financial emergencies, right? So because financial wellness is actually important because it allows us to improve our overall health and well-being. And, it helps us to reduce any financial related stress, not only for now, but also for the future. So now how do we actually get to the point of a financial wellness? If you look at the financial wellness, there are 4 principles that are actually there. So you talk about budgeting, debt, protection, insurance, and savings and investments. From a budgeting perspective, we need to figure out, what kind of a budget do I lay out? And, how do I manage my spending so that I don't spend more than my budget? Even if I'm getting a loan, I need to be able to make sure that, like, that's part of the debt, that I'm paying off the loan in a certain way. And if we need to have a good, kind of a loan, and good loans are, for example, home loans, because you get some tax credit on it. And then there are other loans like car loans, or sometimes, you have student loans. And student loans, you have to be looking at where you can get the best deal, where the interest rates are low, that you don't actually pay until you graduate, or maybe some months after you graduate, and so forth. And then we talk about protection and insurance. Again, when we talk about insurance and protection, it could be due to economy, it could be due to job loss, it could be due to natural disasters, it could be due to any of these things. So we need to make sure that there is certain amount of cushion, certain amount of funds that have been saved, so that we can actually take advantage of that during such kind of a crisis. And overall, we need to be thinking about our savings and investments. Every month, you may have heard this phrase that when you get an income, you have to pay all the bills. Well, the first bill that you have to pay is yourself. Make sure that you pay yourself first. When you get an income, whatever the percentage may be, if it's like 5% or 10% or 20%, whatever works according to your budget, make sure that you actually pay yourself. In other words, take a portion of that, put it into some kind of a saving. Take a portion of that, put it into some kind of an investment. And that is basically going to help you with a future longer term growth that will help you to reduce the anxiety. This is the roadmap to financial wellness. We start off with budgeting, and we determine a monthly budget plan. Again, if you're looking for help in this area, we can help you. And then need to make sure that we have emergency fund, to weather off any of these unexpected things that may come up. So, having that emergency fund, whether it is for 3 months, whether it is for 6 months, whether it is for 9 months, whatever the case may be, having some kind of an emergency fund set aside will be helpful. And if you have a debt, we need to manage the debt, figure out how we can pay off the debts, and then having this savings and investments to eventually get us to risk mitigation, where we have some insurance against some long-term care or loss of property or loss of life. Now, if you are, depending on where you are in your age group, at the bottom, you will see there are different roadblocks that people might encounter depending on which age group one is in. So example, if you're like really early on, like around the 18 to 30 years of age, you will look at student loan repayment. For those who are more 31 to 45, you have people will be in the process of buying a home. right? So there's home buying costs involved. Then there's childcare. You might have children at that time, so the childcare costs involved, and you want to be able to save for their children's college in the future. For those who are in 46 to 55, you will be paying off some debts, and then you'll be finding an increased demand on your thing for having retirement savings. And then between 50, 56 and 70, your healthcare costs would be higher. And so now you'll be looking at your retirement savings even more. And for those who are 70 and older, they will be looking at, okay, how, maybe what happens if I run out of money in retirement? How am I going to get additional funds? So no matter where we are in our age, like Prabhupada says, this anxiety of old age, birth, death, old age, and disease will be there. But from a financial perspective, these are some things that will actually be there that we need to watch out for. The ultimate goal is that we can reduce our anxiety, that we can reduce our stress level, and all come together in a very peaceful and mood where we can serve Srila Prabhupada, where we can serve the deities, serve the devotees in the congregation. That's basically what we're trying to get to. Finance happens to be one of those important elements that we need to take care of it, and we need to take care of it properly. And once it is taken care of, then we can free ourselves up towards serving the devotees. There are some educational resources that I'd like to point you out to. So we have the roadmap to financial wellness. You can get more about this at annuity.org. And we also have a website called Bankrate. And this gives you some rates. As you can see, the popular topics are, people have, when you want to purchase some home or save for retirement, or look at refinancing a home, for example. There are these resources that are available. So your Bankrate is a pretty reliable and a very, well-trusted resource where people go to for getting rate determination and getting education on other topics as well. And then we have the Udemy course. Now, Udemy course is a very interesting course. It's a very complete, comprehensive kind of a course. The cost of this is approximately $140 with lifetime access, but during major holidays, such as Thanksgiving or winter break, Christmas, or July 4th, maybe, I don't know. So I would suggest keep an eye out on this. Here's the link for it. Keep an eye out. Sometimes, because they give you major discounts, for like $10, you'll be able to take advantage of this course, and and you'll be able to get lifetime access on this, and it's very, very useful. Gopal Prabhu, would you be able to speak to the saving accounts and the financial coaching?
Sure. So these are generally the resources that we located are generally for people that are already in financial hardship, but they are rapidly expanding programs, especially the Community Empowerment Fund that was originally designed for people that have experienced homelessness or some other sort of trauma, and the inability to manage their finances, and therefore the CEF was meant to be sort of a social safety net. But they're only about 12 to 15 years old, and they're rapidly expanding to be more of a preventative organization, so that people don't get into that situation in the first place. One thing in this country that we've sorely neglected in the last 50 or 60 years is educating our children in schools for how to maintain their everyday life, especially financially and practically, with things like, as you're speaking, healthcare, insurance, savings, etc. The roadmap to financial wellness. So CEF is picking up that slack as far as a public service. So they're offering financial coaching, as well as these safe savings accounts, but the safe savings accounts are only available at the moment for someone who's already experienced some sort of financial trauma. So for most of our congregation, that doesn't really apply, but there are those that it does. And so that is available. And hopefully soon, there will be a program that will be available, preventatively for young people under 18, who can start, with the help of their parents, an initial savings account to teach them how to maintain finances before they run into trouble, like the majority of Americans have in the last 50 years. And as far as the financial coaching is concerned, that's open to everyone. Anyone who wants to take a course in basic financial literacy can do so by enrolling in CEF. And that link is is available there on the slide that you've attached.
Great. Thank you, Gopal Prabhu.
Mhm.
We also have pointed out some resources when it comes to wills and trusts for those who are interested in having some kind of a will or some kind of a trust, especially for those who are in the I would say the advanced stages of life. And then there's this thing called the corporation of guardianship, again for those who are looking to protect some financial assets under certain circumstances. This is something that is available as well. Before I go to, yes, please, Prabhuji, go ahead.
So these two resources are, they cover two opposite ends of the spectrum. The first one actually covers a larger portion of the spectrum, which is the Hillsborough Wills and Trusts, which is a law firm that specializes in estate planning and estate protection. So that's pretty much for everyone. They don't generally handle the same things that the Corporation of Guardianship does, because the law firm deals directly with the beneficiary of whatever financial resources are there. The Corporation of Guardianship is more for those that are in an at-risk category medically, either through mental or emotional disability, or even physical disability that makes it difficult for someone to manage their finances. So there are many of us that don't have so much family to help with this. So the Corporation of Guardianship can take charge of any kind of larger financial picture that we may have that might be out of our depth to manage for ourselves. And they'll put the beneficiary on a budget, help them budget the money so that it lasts throughout their lifetime. They don't burn through it. So that's for a much smaller sector of our society, or any society, but there are valuable resources of which to be aware.
Thank you, Gopal Prabhu. Rindarani Mataji, at this point, I'd like to invite you, so you might share a few things based on your expertise and how they would be helpful to the devotees.
Sure, Prabhu, thank you. I think you've covered it all very beautifully. The only thing I think the area that I really want to right now that I'm connecting with, and I would like to do that, is the youth. My son has just started off at college, and I see him, quite curious about money, and he's, they're all trying to learn by themselves, which is very good. We should encourage, but I also think we should give them good resources, a good foundation with money, and simple things like starting to save early. Money is important, to understand that money is important, but at the same time, know that money is an enabler, and they should not forget, in the process of pursuing after Lakshmi, not to forget Lord Narayana. That is something that we need to instill. And also, I think teaching our youth this thing about money and saving, and what I'm seeing, Prabhu, is, I think the initial excitement, everything that's out there in the market that they want to kind of, learn and try. And my son is learning about options, he says, and things like that, that he wants to, so there is always that excitement children have, that, okay, how can I make a fast buck? So to slow them down and, put the foundations for them and say, okay, how to build, what is first important, what do you build first? Safety. And yes, you can take some risk and, learn and grow, but first you need to put the important blocks first. So I would love to teach that. And I'm basically an accountant by profession, and I have recently partnered with another person who's been a certified financial planner, very nice Chinese gentleman who I work with, and we do financial planning and retirement planning for individuals. I also have an active life insurance agent, certificate, and I am working on my securities license. So right now, if people are looking for things, I'm happy to help in any way that they want to plan, according to their goals. their investment, retirement planning, things like that. So this is where, for me, I feel we should teach the youth to start early. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Wonderfully said, beautifully said. I think you've, you put, so many wonderful points, like, the icing kind of, so to speak. I think the youth point you mentioned is extremely important. I've seen that with, children, and I think, as a team, we all feel the need to especially make this presentation to the youth. And money happens to be such a lucrative thing that as soon as the young children, the young adults, when they start getting jobs, they think about, okay, now how can I spend it all? So there are greater things that can be done with money rather than just spending. Yes, spending is there, but how much additional things that we can do. So I think your experience on being an accountant, I think, is going to be extremely valuable. And I think your experience with the insurance, and now that you're getting the securities license, I think that's going to be extremely valuable. And I think the devotees will benefit so much from that. So thank you very much, Vrindarani Mataji. Pranav Prabhu, I'd like to invite you if you'd like to share something.
Yes, it was a wonderful class, and wonderful information from all of you. From what I've seen so far is, especially at this age, at this time, it's very important to start with your savings at much earlier age rather than later. Especially like for us, a lot of people like us, we are on we come on a visa, and we don't have that much financial information, especially for this country. So I think this service is going to be really helpful for a lot of like Mataji mentioned, for the youth, for the kids that are upcoming, and also for people at all different ages. It's very important to understand how the financial system works in this country, and also how we take it up from there. So I would highly encourage everybody to go over all the courses and all the material and everything that you said. So yeah, I'm actually traveling, so I think that's it from me, right? Very good.
Thank you, Pranav Prabhu. Some of the resources, Pranav Prabhu, Gopal Prabhu, Vrindarani Mataji, everybody, collectively, we put all these resources that we thought would be helpful. Of course, if you Google this, there's going to be plenty of them. But I think, it's very easy to get lost and to figure out, where to start where. And that's where, we may be able to provide a little bit of service. So I think from a next steps perspective, both Pranav Prabhu and Vrindarani Mataji have mentioned that, Vrindarani Mataji made an excellent point about reaching out to the youth and making this presentation to the youth. I think that'd be a wonderful next step. And then we also need to reach out to the congregation. And for those who are here, please share with other devotees. This is being recorded, and we're going to share this with others. So anybody who's looking for any kind of financial help or support or advice or guidance, even if you want to bounce something off of us, if you just want to say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about, what do you guys think about it? We have Vrindarani Mataji, who's an accountant. She can definitely help you out with any of these kind of queries. And then, just want to list it down. One common question that we get from people saying that, hey, my company offers a 401k, what's the best way to invest so that it grows well over a period of time? So for those who are interested in that kind of an area, let us know, and we'll be able to, provide you with some, I should say, framework and some advice that will help you with making your own decisions. And again, every situation is going to be different. So depending on your situation, you would be able to adjust what makes most sense to you. And so that was all on our presentation. And we're just praying to Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna, and Srila Prabhupada. We are here to serve you all. So please, do take advantage of this service. It is available to everybody in the congregation. And if you want to schedule some time to have a private discussion on your situation or any situation, or if you just want to have some more questions about the educational resources, we'll be more than happy to schedule some time with you. Vrindarani Mataji, Pranav Prabhu, Gopal Prabhu have all extended themselves towards it, and I'm here to help out as well. So I would encourage every single one of you, and let us all pray to the lotus feet of Lord Sri Radha Golokananda, so that they can empower us, and so that we may be able to serve the devotees in this way. Thank you all very much. At this point, I'd like to open up for questions, and I think Aditya Narayan Prabhu, you have your hand raised. Please go
Hare
ahead.
Krishna. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. I was not expecting that this level of services and this comprehensive talking of different aspects, and it's just wonderful. It's like a great resource. My question is, Prabhu, like this is something that you would expect from like a financial advisor company. Like you go to them and they'll say, okay, this is your finance, this is your current situation. They actually look into your accounts, your house, your all those things. So up to what level is this team actually providing that? Like, would you be actually sitting with a particular family and discussing their finances? Like how much time, and what is your part, or would you connect us with someone who would actually help us with that?
So Prabhuji, I can say this, and Brindarani Mataji, Pranab Prabhu, Gopal Prabhu, please feel free to add or correct me. Prabhuji, I can say this, that we have these resources, we have some backgrounds on, and we've dealt through, these various topics that we have talked about in this presentation. So we'll be very happy to lend ourselves out to help the devotees in your particular situation. Now, finance is a sensitive topic, and not everybody may want to open up, and it depends on the particular devotee, to what extent they want to open up and share. And so, we'd be happy to provide assistance in any regard. The amount of time that we can carve out is not an issue. We can all carve out times here. We are making ourselves available to serve the devotees. That being said, the financial advisors who are out there, they do, they are certified financial advisors in some cases, and they do, go through, and depending on what kind of service you take from them, they will have a complete parse out of all your income and expenses and investments and loans and this and that, and they will help you put a plan of this together. What this team will do is we will attempt to help you to the degree that you want to share with us, to the degree that you're looking for advice. So let me give you an example. Somebody who says, hey, Prabhu, here's my monthly income. I make $4,000 a month. Will I be able to afford a house? What kind of a house am I looking for? Like maybe in this market, prices are really high. I have a $600,000 house. Will I be able to afford that? Is that something can I do? Now, based on these kind of numbers, we'll be able to, quick work with you and say, what kind of, what's your loan to debt ratio? What kind of expenses are you having right now? And will you be able to take up the cost of the mortgage? And it's not just a mortgage, because then you have to account for property taxes, you have to account for home insurance, and then there'll be some home related expenses that also have to be accounted from time to time. Air conditioner might break down after 4 or 5 years. Who knows? I mean, these are all maintenance costs that we are all aware of. So these are the kind of things that we can ask devotees to look out for. This is the kind of information, like for example, that the cost that will be involved after you do the purchase, that some of these financial advisors may or may not be able to tell you. Like for example, sometimes people say, hey, I want to buy a car, can I buy a BMW? Yeah, sure, if you want to go buy a BMW. But then you look at the auto insurance cost for a BMW is generally greater than that for a Toyota or a Honda, right? I mean, it may be up to $500 more. Do you really want to, are you really aware of that? Do you want to accept that cost? Okay, great. The maintenance cost, if you have an oil change, or if you have any battery related issue or anything related issue to your car, those car maintenance costs are actually greater than that of, like a Hyundai or, any of the other brands. So that's the level of information that we can share with you, which basically we bring from our own, because we've gone through these things. We can share with our own experience that a financial advisor may or may not be able to do. Does that kind of help? Vrindarani Mataji, Pranab Prabhu, Gopal Prabhu, please feel free to add.
Perfectly spoken. That's exactly what I wanted to express. And one other thing is that it should be very well understood that some of us on the team are not certified with any sort of degree, or the only thing we really bring to the finance is our experience.
Correct.
Like for myself, you were talking about real estate, owning a home, maintenance of that home, insurance, and so forth. So I've been a property manager for many years, and that's what I did before I retired from working life. But I'm not currently licensed in that area. I offer my experience, but not anything bonded. In other words, if you ask my advice and it all goes wrong, there's no bond to protect me from a lawsuit.
Correct. And the same thing
So-
applies. I'm not certified in any kind of a financing either. I think Vrindarani Mataji is certified accountant, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So Vikasananda Prabhu put it very beautifully. I think it's very individual to what extent each case is different. It's not like a cookie cutter thing. It depends on each devotee what they're actually looking for. But if someone is looking for a full financial plan, then I do practice with another partner. Like I mentioned, I have a few licenses. I'm working on getting a few more, but I've partnered with someone who does this, and we do this on a day-to-day basis where we sit with people who really want to do their total financial planning, see what their goals are, plan for their retirement, make sure that they have enough put away in their emergency fund, make sure that they have their insurance is covered, and they have some sort of a retirement plan for their future when they want to retire. We actually do work with things like that. If somebody wants to go to that extent, I'm happy to with my practice. But if someone is just looking for something, just like what Prabhu said about purchasing a house or looking to buy some particular vehicle, so those are again things that we can give just some tips, or some things that they should kind of look out for and be careful about and consider before they make a decision like that. So
I think that's wonderfully said, Mataji. And I think Aditya and Prabhu, the one thing that needs to be understood is basically there are two things. First of all, other than Vrindarani Mataji, I don't know about you, Pranav Prabhu, but I'm not certified in any finance area to be able to say that I have this license and we can provide that to Vrindarani Mataji. Obviously can claim that she's the one. So if any devotee is looking to talk to somebody who's a certified, financial, I should say financial certified professional, that would be Vrindarani Mataji. So yes, this team can provide you with that information. However, I think the other thing also that this team can provide you with is lessons from our own experience. And this is something that, I don't know, whether certified people out there may be able to provide there or not. They will be just putting it together very clearly in terms of numbers. Here's $4,000, here's $6,000, subtract the two, you get $2,000, that's you. How to interpret that and how to make it on your own. What does it actually mean to you? We all come from a certain, background, right? And so as devotees, what does that all mean to us? So we would be able to provide the lessons that we have learned in our own personal lives and how we can take that and help you with those lessons learned. That's something that's important. And this is something that, you'll see sometimes people will just, search the web and try to do DIY, which is great. But in addition to that, people are looking for, hey, is this resource a good one? Is that, is this, if somebody wants to go to a travel vacation, saying, hey, is this a good place? Is this a good place to stay in? And people look at reviews, those peer reviews kind of thing. And sometimes people will say, I want to be able to talk to somebody who has actually gone there as opposed to a third party. So here's a set of devotees, here's a team of devotees who we have actually gone through these things that we're talking about. And so we'll be able to provide you with that personal level of information and our own opinions. And again, keep in mind, having said that, all of these things are based on our experiences, they're based on our opinions, but by no means, they are like a sure shot, this is what you should do. The decision is up to the devotee to make what they want to do. That is up to you to perform. And like, Gopal Prabhu said, we are not bonded. And so, we are not looking for any kind of a backfire of any kind of a thing, of a lawsuit or something. This is a simple service that we are providing to the devotees. And Vrindarani Mataji is taking that a step further by being a certified accounting professional. She will be able to provide those services as well. Does that make sense, Adyan and Prabhu?
So Prabhu, so my question is, let's say a family just, like we announce it in the congregation and say like, oh, we have this service, and the family says, well, this is, I want to talk to someone, like have a detailed discussion, like about my finances and planning for retirement, etc. So this is wonderful to offer the services, but do we have does the team have the bandwidth to say like, okay, I'm going to sit with you for 1 hour, see the finances? At what point does it say like, okay, this is our free service that we can provide, and beyond that you'll have to pay for that, or we'll connect you to someone who's more professional? And I'm just thinking that this is wonderful. Let's say we announce it, in the Sunday feast, we have this team and it's so wonderful. Everyone should take opportunity, connect with them, know about your finance, especially, you made the point about devotees. like our thinking is different from the world outside. Like we want to plan in such a way that we have more time for seva, when you want to retire that way early, that you can dedicate more time for serving purpose mission. So, all those points are wonderful that this team is actually helping with. So my question is still that how much bandwidth does the team have to give to a family? And when, let's say we announce in a Sunday feast, like, so we have our core congregation, and then there's, like, you can say maybe more larger congregation who are just, come to a temple maybe once a month or, things. So like, who is the service open to? So there are two parts to this here.
Go ahead, Gopal Prabhu.
So I think it should be really clear that we are a resource and not a firm. So if someone, we can sit with a family for, let's say, 10 or 15 minutes to get a feel for what their needs are. And then we would make recommendations as to who to go see to talk about those needs. So instead of fielding their entire financial health and have them be dependent upon us, like a family would depend upon their estate attorney or their stockbroker or so forth, we would be able to tell them, okay, it sounds to us like you need to see an estate attorney. Here's a list of, in your area, here's some state attorney and some estate attorneys that we've gotten decent recommendations about, that other congregation members, and we can start collecting those resources as we have on the ones that were shown in the presentation. So we wouldn't take personal responsibility for guiding that much in depth, but we would guide them towards professionals. So Vrindarani Mataji, she seems to have licenses in things like insurance. So if that comes up in a conversation, then we can refer them, say, okay, talk to Vrindarani Mataji and she will help you with insurance and with other financial guides, and she'll do that as a firm. And then that family and her firm can discuss, what payment is required and so forth, and that becomes a business arrangement. But our team is not involved in that business arrangement. We don't charge any money for anything that we do. This is done as a service, and the service is mostly to refer out to either paid or nonprofit, licensed nonprofit organizations or paid firms to help people with their specific financial needs. Does that make sense?
Exactly my thoughts, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. So, like how the presentation was, just to be, because I'm just thinking of like when we present it to the larger congregation, this is wonderful. We want everyone to make use of the services that you're providing. I was just thinking that the words should be like very clear of what we are providing. Like the presentation was wonderful that there's so many different points, but I think the boundary of like what we are providing and what is, our more service of referring, I think that has to be clear.
One thing that I think that we should make clear is we're not a service that is being offered for every single member of the congregation that they should come and consult with us. There's so many members of the congregation that have absolutely no need for anything that we offer because they've already taken care of it, or they already have the education from their families or from whatever resources they already have. We are there as a backstop for those people that don't have what they need to manage their financial health. We're not there to reinvent the wheel or to tell people that, what they've already got is not sufficient and therefore we can offer something more. It's not like that. We are a subdivision of the devotee care community. So the devotee care community is for those who are in need of care, not for those that are secure and well situated at the moment. Does that make sense?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Yeah, so it makes perfect sense. That's exactly how we see ourselves aligned within the devotee care program.
Yeah. So especially our congregation, the vast majority of our congregation is very well situated financially. We're very fortunate in that way. So our team will actually not be a resource that's necessary for, let's say, 60, 70, 80% of our congregation. I think perhaps 20 to 30% of our congregation, which, because we have almost 3,000 families, is still a large number. But those are the members who we're here for. And as we grow, I mean, we're also a fledgling committee. So as we grow, we may start to offer, especially on the educational side, we may start to offer a lot more services that will appeal to a larger swath of our community. But as we are beginning, we're there for those that are in the most need at the moment. And we, just like CEF, will develop more and more proactive resources, such as educational classes and consultations that will help those who, may not currently need, but to stave off any particular future need, will be there to offer those educational resources.
I just wanted to mention that our planned end time was 10:40 and we are at 10:50 now. So I just want to be mindful of the devotees' time.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. So anyway, I feel this is wonderful. We need to present it to the congregation. I just need more clarity of what services we are providing and to whom we are providing. In the starting of the presentation, there was a point of if someone devotee family is thinking about okay, retirement, I want to plan for retirement. Okay, how you are helping. And then there's also a point that we want to focus on those who are really in need. So I think that, and also youth, that's such an important aspect also. So they're I feel there are so many different areas, and I just feel maybe not now, we are over time, but just more clarity on what bandwidth we have, what exactly we are providing, and at what point we would draw the line and say that, okay, this is what we are providing, and then we are referring you to someone else. So maybe that could be later on since we are over time, but I just wanted to make that point that the presentation was wonderful, lots of services. Just question on what is our bandwidth and who are we serving?
Hare Krishna. Excuse me, I'm unable to turn on the video. Thank you all. Wonderful points made in the sense. Information is beautiful and very relevant points made. And I see that we are kind of little clear at the end of the presentation that we are a subgroup in the devotee care who not everybody would need these services, maybe 20 or 30%. If they need the services, then we would be a resource for knowledge, recommendation, and if we have to, knowledge and recommendations basically, but not acting as a firm as such. And if somebody is looking for professional consultation, and especially for youth, then Vrindarani Mataji is certified, then we may refer to her. So in this case, if anybody in the congregation approaches, then we would refer them to financial group. And as Gopal Prabhu has mentioned, when they talk to that devotee within 10-15 minutes, they would know. They would just give out the resources or recommendation or education that's needed for that particular devotee. And then after that, the devotee would be clear if they need to seek professional consultation outside. So I guess that's where it is. That's where we are right now, Prabhu, just to act as a subgroup in the devotee care and provide recommendation, education, and resources, not taking any liability. So as of now, yes, the group of Gopal Prabhu, Vikasanand, Krishna Prabhu, all of you, are we understanding this right, Vrindarani Mataji?
Sounds like clarity is perfect to me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly how we are aligned.
I think so. Yes. I think we're more, as a committee, we are more a sounding board that, as like Prabhu said, sometimes, people read reviews and then, they want to know someone who has been on the trip and, they call and find out. So we are like that sounding board that, they have to have their resources, the things that they do their research, they do their analysis, they go to the people they need to, but if they need to just sound it off with someone and just check, this is what I'm doing. Do you think this is okay? We will, just give our opinion again,
Right.
based on our experience.
Exactly.
And, they can take it or leave it. But again, everybody has to do their own thing. Even when they go to a professional, I always tell people that, they still need to do their own research too. So I think over here as a committee, we are that sounding board for the devotees.
Exactly. Sounding board and maybe a little education or information so they can do their
Yes.
stuff. And
Yes.
if professional help needed, and you're there for the youth. Otherwise, we'll just give them the recommendations so they can work it out with the professionals outside. Awesome.
Yes. Yes. And,
Awesome.
maybe proactively we as a committee can, work on, if there is something that's happening in the tax law or, something that's coming up, we will just probably share it in the group, I think, right, Vikas Ananda Prabhu? That's
Yes.
something
Yeah,
we could do.
I think that's a good idea,
Just
Mataji.
share
That's a good
some
idea.
tips and things like that proactively, so people are aware. Just be mindful of this when you're
Sure.
doing your 1040 or something like that. That we
Right.
will,
I was
share
thinking, Mataji, maybe yes, please. After we post this recording in New Goloka group, we'll just share the link for the financial care team, and whoever is interested with this financial thing, they would log in and they would be in the financial group, and the conversation can flow on freely regarding the finances there, since they're all interested people anyway. Does that sound okay to you all?
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep, sounds great.
Awesome. So yes, thank you.
So I just want to make one last point, and then maybe it's just me, but while the presentation was going on, like I know you're thinking of presenting this on Sunday feast. I feel like the presentation was giving a lot more than what I finally came towards the end of understanding what it is.
Right.
So I felt like the presentation was like, okay, we are providing this, and this, and this. And I feel like it needs a little bit, like, I'm just making the point, like, just frankly,
Yes.
this is wonderful. I really appreciate this. This is really great. And I'm like, really, I just feel like before presenting on a Sunday feast or to a larger congregation, I feel that clarity should be there from the starting. That's just my personal humble
I
opinion.
think the
Thank
plan
you,
now
sir.
is, Prabhu, since we all of us together worked out what we can offer to the congregation and be sustainable and not liable. For now, I think we will limit the whole conversation to the financial care team, and whoever is interested can come over there. And depending upon the interest in the community, then we can take it from there.
Could
Yeah?
I just make one comment?
Yes, please.
So I think perhaps because the presentation touched on many different points, the 12 points of financial wellness, it may have seemed as if we are covering a lot more than our mandate. But I think the only real adjustment that may need to be made is in the beginning, it said that, these are aspects of your financial health that you need to consider. It's not that the financial care team will assist you with every aspect,
Yeah.
but to have full financial health and to reduce the amount of anxiety you may have about your finances, these are 12 things to consider.
Yes.
So,
And I think we can, sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
not
those
the guide.
fine adjustments can be made, and if we are presenting, maybe as a group made for a clear presentation so we can sustain. That can, yes, Prabhu, that we will do in the financial team, if that's all okay with you.
So I think Gopal Prabhu, what you said in the last, like that
Right?
really,
Yeah.
makes it very clear. So I think that from the starting of the presentation, if that point is made clear, I think that will help, because as I was not in your team, so I'm just speaking as a person who is like third person coming and hearing this. And it just seemed that all those 12 aspects, we are actually providing the help with, directly, oh, I need retirement help. Okay, you can come to us. It's like, so I feel like clarity from the starting would really help a person hearing the whole thing. But I feel this is wonderful. This is great to have this on. And thank you so much for doing this as well. This is
Yes,
wonderful.
thank you. Thank you for enthusiasm, inspiration, coming together, giving your time, giving your services. Thank you so much to you all, dear devotees. Thank you.
Jai.
Thank you all very much. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Vancha kalpataru
Vancha
kripasindhavescha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.